A day that starts with clouds, it has sun, it has rain, it has all the mixtures. It's just a reminder of every day that we have one constant, and that is you. That no matter what comes at us, we can turn to our God. I thank you for a country, and I thank you for a county, and I thank you for this commission, and I thank you for the work that is done here. I pray that we will all keep our eyes focused on the greater good. For those that are hurting, we reach out with love. For those that are in need, we give and we help. And for those that just need encouragement, we encourage them to live in this community and to be all that you have raised them to be. I pray for wisdom for these who are called to serve in leadership roles for all that is done tonight. May you provide grace. May you provide the wisdom that is needed. And may we always remember that you are God and we are not. And that when we seek guidance, we look above. And by looking above, we know that we find you. For it is in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. This time I'd like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll call to order the Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020 meeting of the Hart County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We do have a lengthy agenda, and we do have a distinguished guest that we're going to let speak here in just a second. First item of business tonight will be to approve the agenda. And I would like to move up, after we approve the agenda, I'd like to make that one change to move remarks by invited guests up to the top. After we approve the agenda, if everybody's okay with that.
So moved.
Terry, you got any other changes?
Executive session.
Okay. Personnel.
Move it up to after the remarks by invited guests.
We can. Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. You want to amend your motion?
I'll amend my motion.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Carter to approve the agenda as amended with those two changes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Any public comment on the agenda? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. This time we'd like to recognize our U.S. Congressman Doug Collins. He's been a true asset for this board in Washington, and we appreciate all he's done for us with the Stellar Act, the Hartwell Lakeside Park. He's been a true fighter and warrior for this community in Washington. We really appreciate him. We're going to let him tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. To all the commission, everybody's out here. It's been a good day. Been over here in Hart County all day. We started off at the park, and the things been done there. It just goes to show that when the community comes together and we're able to do something and actually get people to the table, we can make progress. And I just want to commend the commission, commend of everybody for what's done, because I just saw something that doesn't happen that often in Washington, D.C. A unanimous vote. We can't even say the pledge and have a unanimous vote most of the time. Should we say it before or after or 5 minutes? So I just want to commend you for getting through the first part. You never make it through in Washington, D.C. So that's something we do. And Chairman Norton, we appreciate the time to explain. A lot is going on now, and we wanted to be a part, just to say not only was proud to be a part of the park, but also you talk about the Orphan County issue, our Stella issue. It is now where it needs to be, away from government. We have done, I promised it a long time ago, almost 8 years. I heard this on the campaign trail, and the first time I ever heard it, I have to be honest, when somebody come up to me and they said, what are you going to do about the orphan counties? And I immediately, the worst thing that can ever happen in public life is you say, I have no idea what they're talking about. But they want me to ask something about it. So the good part about it is somebody all of a sudden said TV, and then we began that conversation. And we put it into the law in 2014 that you could actually negotiate this, and it's taken until now to get that done. But now it is away from government. The repeal has been rejected, and it is now with the satellite and the cable providers to do this. And I encourage the commission and all the public to be involved, talking to them to make this happen in a way that is fitting for Hart County. And I think the rest of the orphan counties as well, because this is what it's always been about. It's always been about the communities and how they were served, and we're just proud that that got done, and we're glad that it is going to be positive moving forward. So we appreciate the work of the commission and others in these counties to actually have accomplished that. The other thing is I just want to commend our local and state government, especially our local government, on the response that we've had over the past few months, and the difficult decisions with budgeting, with everything else that's been going on in the response. So with us, from a federal level, there's probably going to be, I will say some more issues happening in July that may have more funds available for state, local response, and just be prepared for that. But I wouldn't bank on that, and I just be honest because it's still in flux on how that's going to happen. One of the things I would like to see is more what our counties and our localities actually do is they have flexibility to come to meetings and hear input from the people to say, can we move around funds? One of the things that we did early on in the federal government was that we all of a sudden sent a lot of money to the state, but we had a lot of restrictions on how that money could be spent, and most states have not spent that money. So my thought is instead of just approving more money, why don't we free up some of that money that the state level and the locals can actually use to backfill budgets to do other things as we go forward. There's some controversy about that, especially with states who don't do it as well as Georgia and localities that doesn't do it as good as Hart County and others, but those are the kind of things that we're looking at today. But I'll just say this, from going back and forth, and I've been back and forth to Washington, D.C. a good bit recently, and the fighting and the providing for these values in the 9th District that we've been trying to have, it's good to be here today. It's good to be back over here and see what's going on, and to see people getting back out, and to see how government actually works at its best in local level when it's the closest to the people right here, so to speak, in the pews. And I just want to say thanks for letting me come, say the prayer, and be with you as you go forward. We got a little more to do today, and I got to be back in D.C. tomorrow. But Chairman, rest of the commission, thank y'all for what you and to the folks of Hart County. It's a pleasure to continue to represent you as a 9th District Congressman. We've had a lot of success. We're going to have some more as we go forward. So again, thank y'all very much. And with that, Mr. Chairman, could I be excused?
You can. I just want to recognize Mr. Joel Katz in the back,
Yes.
one of your staff members. Joel is a key contact for us. He answers his phone all hours of the night, calls you back. Never had an unturned phone call. I mean, he's always there. He's always available, readily accessible, and we couldn't ask for anything any better.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I want to offer that, and I appreciate you recognizing that, and you're only as good as the folks that you get to work for you, and I'm blessed to have Joel and the rest of our staff, for a lot of things. And sometimes they don't realize that our staff does more than just legislation. If you have visa issues, you have immigration issues, you have, IRS issues, those kind of things. So that's what our staff does. And so we're glad to have, folks like that, not only in Georgia, but in Washington, D.C. And I appreciate y'all recognizing it. You've got a great staff here as well.
Thanks.
Well, make a motion to withdraw this last. Move to strike the last statement. But it's good to see everybody here. And again, y'all have a great evening. It's good to see everybody. Y'all
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, moving back along, I've got the agenda marked up here, so bear with me. Next item of business tonight will be the approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. You got the June 9th meeting minutes in your packet. Can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Sayer, a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment on the minutes? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. As we amended the agenda to move the executive session up next, we got a brief executive session, and we'll come back out if the board votes to do this. Can I get a motion that we go into executive session for real estate and litigation?
I make a motion we go in executive
A
session.
motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Carter. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. We shouldn't be gone. There's not going to be any action taken as a result of the executive session tonight. With that being said, could I get a motion that we exit executive session and move back into the open meeting?
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Carter and a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. All right, now we'll go back down and follow our agenda. Apologize for the changes, but things we need to get taken care of. Item 8, reports by constitutional officers and department heads. Mr. Gordon.
Mr. Chairman, whatever I have tonight is later in the agenda.
Okay. County Administrator's report.
Just a couple of things. I just want to be sure everybody understands that the 4th of July, pre-4th has been canceled, and the pre-4th fireworks has been canceled. I think there was confusion on that we talked about last night, but just so the public knows, both have been canceled. We had a drowning this past week. I just want to say I appreciate all the cooperation between DNR and the SO and the fire and everybody else, and our thoughts and prayers with the family. That's all I have.
Okay. Chairman's report, just want to remind everybody we're getting close to the budget work sessions in July. Just keep those on your schedule. You still good to go with the dates we talked about?
Correct. Yeah, we should be all right.
Those will be done after our normal Tuesday night meetings, and if needed, the second and fourth Thursday, just so everybody's aware of it. That's all I've got under Chairman's report. Commissioner's report, District 2.
I attended the fish tournament down at the mega ramp Saturday. There was probably about 60 or 70 boats down there. Like they was catching a lot of fish down there. Also appreciate the job of our law enforcement, first responders, fire department, EMS, county employees, and I appreciate our veterans, past and present. That's all I got.
All right. District 3.
Yeah, I'd also like to say thank you for the Impact Church of Hartwell for facilitating a Operation Feed Hartwell during this COVID-19. There was a bunch of groups that got together and donated food, and the Impact Church, along with other churches, made donations and facilitated this thing Saturday morning, and they done a real good job, and I appreciate that church for taking that on. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
District 4.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I attended the Hart State Park, Lake Hartwell Resort now, along with Commissioner Sayer and Commissioner Teasley. He was down there with Mr. Doug Collins. He was with us. Can y'all hear me all right out there? Can we turn this thing up or what? It ain't doing too good.
I'll probably wipe it out. Just talk about it.
I'm not a very loud talker, so I had to turn mine up a little bit. Can y'all hear me now? That better? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Turtle. We attended the state park. They had the groundbreaking ceremony down there. I still call it State Park. That's what it's been most of my life, so it'd take me a long time to get the name different. But we had groundbreaking, and some of y'all that was out there today was there too. I'm proud to see it happen. I hope it's a success, and I hope that everything works out for it. And I think it'll benefit Hart County citizens. We mentioned law enforcement earlier. I'm going to tell each and every one of you that we need to start praying and supporting our law enforcement. Them boys is feeling bad, and girls. Think about how they feel every day when they listen to the news and they see what's going on in this country and how they're being really treated like dogs in other cities and other counties. Luckily, it's not happening in Hart County and around our area, but you need to put your prayers and support out for law enforcement. They need to know you care. And I told some other day, I said, you know, I know you see a lot of stuff on the news, and I know you feel like you're not cared for, but I can assure you there's a lot more that supports you than don't. It's just the news media that likes to play it up a little more than it is. And I appreciate you listening to that. Thank y'all. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Moving on into old business, item 12A, timber permits ordinance amendment, third and final reading. We were required to make some updates to our timber permit ordinance. As customary, before an ordinance can be enacted, we have to have 3 public hearings. We've had the first 2. The first one was on May the 26th. The second one was on June the 9th. This time, could I get a motion that we take the third and final reading of the timber permits ordinance amendment?
I make a motion, we take this as third and final reading.
I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? I would like to see us notify everybody who's got a timber bond. We need to notify them via certified mail so they're aware of this. We don't have any problems.
All right.
Does anybody else got anything to add? No more discussion. Any public comment on this? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Item 12B, fiscal year 20 paving bid award. At our last meeting, we opened paving bids, and the recommendation is to award the bid to Stratton & Sons for a total of $1,065,750. They've done our paving the last several years and have done a great job for us, plus they're a local company, and they were by far the low bidder. Terry, you got anything else you want to add to that?
No, sir. Like I say, they done a great job on the last contract they got and saved us some money on it.
So moved. Motion that we award that to Stratton & Son. Have a motion by Commissioner Carter.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is item 12C, fiscal year 21 recreation bid openings. This will be for uniforms for football, cheerleading, basketball, and photography.
We got several. Unfortunately, I can't split them up for what, some of them photography, some of them for all 3. Tried, and that photography first, I hope. 2 of them.
As is customary, we open all our bids in a regular meeting so everybody can see it if they're not here or it's televised. All right, I got a bid from Sportography out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. Package A, $17. Package B, $18. Package C, $19. Package D, $7. And a 50% donation net, not gross, but net. Turnaround delivery time 2.5 weeks.
This is the same, I got the same bid here from them, same prices. What Hart fee,
Just needs to be noted, I think. It's been opened. Somebody's going to take it.
Them two's the same right there.
I started to cut that open. I said, whoop, don't do that.
Hasn't been over here. It's been
Them two's the same.
I want to make sure that
that tape continues with the mailing label. It's all the same piece.
Don't cut yourself.
I'm trying my best not to. I learned a long time ago to cut away from you. All right, the company is Life Touch. Been missing the paper. Oh, here we go. Package A, $12. Package B, $16. Package C, $15. Photo buttons, $7. And I'm assuming that's the photos. Yeah, sports photography. 32% donation fee.
Is that all the photography bids?
Yeah.
We'll just wait, we'll make a motion at one time and turn them all in.
That's one basketball, but I know I think there's some more basketball than these others get on everything. We may come back to add to these other bids, if y'all know them all at the same time, we can start that.
Why don't you see what you got grouped together, and then we'll get them first. And we'll
That's
get
how much you had, this is basketball. Well, there's another basketball. Football and basketball, you got basketball and football. That's just the basketball.
So it'll be 3 basketball.
If they didn't bid for all 3, are we still going to take the bids?
You have to.
I don't think we'll do it.
You just have to wait and see what you got.
Basketball.
I just don't really understand that.
Some of them recall their bids in one envelope.
Is that basketball?
Basketball.
Here's the basketball.
Basketball and football.
He said basketball. What you said, basketball?
Yep, that's what we got. So now we open up basketball.
Like Christmas time up here.
Sealed bid, another sealed bid.
This right here is from Pro Time Sports. Basketball jersey, $32.50. Adult, $32.90.
Got a bid from BSN Sports LLC in Dallas, Texas. Youth size $33.99, adult size $34.76.
Got a bid from Kelsey Soccer, and youth size 16, adult size 17 for the jerseys.
This here from Adware Specialty of Texas. Youth size 9.89, adult size 10.89.
Put that back in there. Got 2 more.
Yeah, I cut this one in too. Got a little happy. Youth 23, adult 24. Basketball, that's from K-Roo Sports and Imprinting, and I cut this with the fine pencil.
Give me another one again.
K-Roo Sports, youth $23, adult $24. Youth 16 for skirt, and adult $17. We get pom-pom $15 for a set. One more here. I think I probably could eat it. Sure did. That thing's sharp, bro. This is from K-Roo Sports. And this basketball uniforms. Youth size.
Oh, we got those next, just hang on.
We're looking at basketball.
I got confused. Okay, go ahead.
Champagne Sports, list name, youth size 1850, adult size 1950. That brown envelope goes with that.
This envelope.
Yeah.
trying to keep these things in the same envelope they come in.
Yeah, need to continue to keep all that stuff.
I'll try to be a little more careful.
Yeah. You got that here now.
I'll be a little more careful when I cut this one.
Got a bid from Riddell All-American out of Northridge, Ohio. Youth size 2025, adult size 2187. That's for the flag football jerseys. The regular football jerseys, youth size 2175, adult size 2269. It says add $2 for sizes 2X and $3 for sizes 3X. And on the football pants, youth size $10, adult size $11.50.
K-Roo Sports.
Okay.
Make the list brand, the name brand Sport Tech, youth size $14, adult size $16. Champro Sports, FJ, and this is football jerseys. Youth size $28, adult size is $30, and that's Champro Sports versus Sport Tech. One of them flag football, one of them football.
This right here is some personal best athletics, and it's got youth size $7.95, adult $8.95, and football jersey $14.95, and adult size $16.95.
That's another one right there.
I got Kelsey Sports, flag football jerseys, youth size $10, adult size $11. Football jerseys, youth size $20, adult size $21. And the football pants, youth size $21 and adult size $22. And then I've got BSN Sports and flag football, youth size $18.44, adult size $18.44. Football jerseys $29.19, adult size $29.97. Football pants, youth size $21.15, adult size $22.47.
Got a bid from Royal Graphics here in Hartwell, Georgia. The flag football jerseys, youth size $12.50, adult size $12.50. The name brand's Augusta. Football jerseys, Russell name brand, youth size $24, adult size $24. As far as football pants, Champ Pro, youth size 28, adult size 28.
This right here is some home team athletics. This right here, Terrell's cheerleading uniforms, $25.75 for a shell, skirt $16.75, and the pom-poms are $17.50.
Yeah, Royal Graphics has got all their bids in one envelope. So we got all the football out of the way. We got a cheerleading bid here from Royal Graphics. The shells $14.97, adults $16.05. $14.97 was youth. The skirt is $15.92 for youth, $16.60 for adults. Pom-poms $8.08. Is this the last one, wasn't it? Yeah. And then for Youth basketball, basketball jerseys, youth size $15, adult size $15. Brand is Russell. That's it. Is that all of them? If that's all of them, could get a motion, we turn these bids over to county administrator for review and recommendation at a later meeting.
I make that motion.
A motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Carter. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is speed ordinance discussion, item 12D. Commissioner Carter had asked that we put this on the agenda for this meeting. Terrell, I know you've got some stuff in our packet we've talked about, but the bottom line on these speed ordinances is it requires a traffic study by a professional engineer before it can even be brought to the board to be discussed for adoption. And then once the board adopts it, it goes on a radar list, and that's the only roads that law enforcement can run radar on now. There are other methods where they could charge you for driving too fast for conditions or pacing you using a speedometer, but for radar, that's the only way they can do it. So I'll let you guys.
Basically, the procedure is if we want to change a speed limit from the state's set speed limit on all roads, you have to have the traffic study. That traffic study, we pay for the traffic study. That traffic study is also sent to DOT safety engineers. They say yes or no, and it comes back to us, and then we have to apply to the Department of Public Safety to get their permission or a permit to add that to a radar list. And then the state sends those information like you just seen on the screen back to us for us to adopt. So we just can't go out and say we're going to put a speed limit on this sign and on this road and do it. If we did, it's illegal, first off. And if we did do it and the law stopped somebody, they couldn't write a ticket for it anyway.
Well, I had some concerns on this because I keep getting people talking to me about the speed limit and stuff like that, so I wanted to get it sort of cleared up. And in your packet, you make a statement that we can enforce speed limits, but we can't do it with radar.
Correct. I mean, the state speed limit is 55. Any law enforcement officer can enforce it. You just can't use radar to do it.
Okay. Well, also, the state has a maximum speed limit set for anywhere in the state of Georgia. You cannot go over, but you can request it to go down.
Right. You can't lower it but 10 miles an hour from what it previously was for so long a distance, and then 10 miles an hour down.
And also y'all said that in order to do it, we have to pay for a traffic investigation or traffic study.
Correct.
And then you can run radar.
Then if it makes it through the state's approval and comes back to us, you can.
And the road qualifies.
Yeah, road qualifies. Well, the road qualifies not going to be in your engineering study.
Right.
That they going to take the measurements of the roads and the sight distance and all that. That's in their study.
Well, one of the things I'm reading right here in 40-6-181, I may be reading it wrong, but y'all tell me if they think I am. Consistent with the provisions of engineering and traffic investigations regarding maximum speed limit as provided in Code Section 40-6-182, no person shall drive a vehicle in speed of excess of the following limit. Now, to me, that's telling me that the state has already done the engineering and traffic study for the state of Georgia, and this is where that's how they set their maximum limits.
Correct. It's called, you got in system and out, off system, on system and off system. On system's all state highways. Off system is county roads, city streets, and stuff like that. They do set all the maximum speeds for all on system roads by traffic studies. The DOT does itself.
It's my understanding that subparagraph you're talking about, urban or residential districts, you've got to have a zoning designation there as well. This is a residential area, or if it's not.
Correct. I've looked all over for a definition for residential area, and the only place that comes into play under state law is under zoning laws.
Well, it don't say that right here. It says just residential area.
residential district.
District.
Urban or residential district. Now I got another question. This also says that the governing authority has to request this. Now, is that the governing authority of the county, or can each city request it? Because they are also the governing authority. It don't say the governing authority of the county. It says when you submit this by applicant shall be, but is not limited to, the name of the governing authority or sheriff seeking a permit.
Key word you just said there. When it says sheriff, that means the county has to request it.
Well, I didn't know, but it don't really say, and that's another one of them things that's not very clear.
Correct.
Governing authority could be the city council.
Could be. Governing authority is going to be who's going to enforce it.
Who's going to enforce it? Who owns it?
Right. That's what's not clear. So in other words, they can enforce the laws as state written, but they can't do it by radar. They can only do it by following them or
Correct. Right. I mean, the permitting is for running of radar.
And when you start doing these speed studies, you're looking at $6,000 to $7,000, $8,000 per study. So this is not cheap.
Yeah, but I understand that. But you know, when people got dangerous speeders in their neighborhood and stuff like that, right there, it's kind of tough when we basically say we can't do nothing about it.
Well, you can do a lot of things, but it depends on how much money you want to put in it to do it. That's the question. Thankfully, it's up to y'all, not me.
Yeah, I understand that, but like I say, I know we can't go out here and spend $1,000 on every road, but it's kind of funny that the state passes a law and put a maximum speed out there, and then you can't enforce it.
You can enforce it, Rick.
Without radar. So it's hard to enforce the law when you ain't got something telling you how fast somebody's going. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe we could do a little better at enforcing what we can on certain areas.
Those radar laws came into effect to keep people like some folks, some of the smaller places around here with speed traps.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of the radar. All the laws governing radar is to keep them speed traps being set up by small towns.
All right, we're looking to take any action on this? I don't think we are.
No, I just want to sort of get it cleared up to where I can understand it, and I still don't really understand it. I understand it better than did, let's put it that way, but I still don't understand it wholly.
Okay. Well, we'll move on down to the next item on the agenda, animal ordinance discussion. This was requested by Commissioner Carter at the last meeting as well.
Well, I've heard a lot of talk. I've had people call me, and I'm sure y'all have too, talking about cats in our animal law. We had a report from the animal shelter and the Humane Society come up a while back, and they were reporting on it, and they requested that cats be put in our ordinance. And the way I read this thing, it seemed like they're in there anyhow. I could go over this whole order, but there's one or two places in here that really, to me, clears that up. And y'all got that in your packet also. But nuisance animal. That don't say cat, no dog, that says animal. So that would be any animal as far as I'm concerned. A public nuisance animal shall mean and include any animal that is repeatedly found at large, that can be cats, damages the property of anyone other than owner, that could be cats, they're not real damage, but they can create some damage, is vicious. Wild or feral cats can be pretty vicious. If you don't believe it, pick one of them up. They kind of hurt. Attacks without provocation. I had a cat one time whoop two dogs. And I've never seen one chase the vehicle. But to me, that says that they can be picked up and they can be used. That's what I want to clear up. And also, at the same time, those ladies that was up here said they would be willing to review our animal ordinance and take a look at it. And I think we ought to let them do it, because they work with this every day, a lot more than what we do. But y'all got your paper in there, and if you read it, you'll understand where I went over the whole ordinance. But I don't want to take the time to read everything in here. But it does say that you can pick up any nuisance animal. To me, that would be cats also.
But I don't believe the state law just covers dogs, so. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the state law just covers dogs when you're talking about vicious animals and stuff like that.
Well, I understand that, but a nuisance animal could be a cat. And
It would depend on whose opinion it is and what their definition of a nuisance is. And, I mean, talking with the sheriff, he's got his hands full right now with just dogs. I think we need to leave it as it is. We don't get cat calls as far as...
Well, also, the Humane Society and the Animal Shelter is starting a new program trying to get rid of feral cats. And if the county goes out here and picks them up, then they can treat them, spay or neuter them, and put them back out in adoption. But if we don't pick them up, they just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So it does create a problem. They're almost as bad as rabbits.
All right, so we're going to move on. Next item on the agenda is, again, Commissioner Carter asked if we could put this on. This is a Milltown Park discussion. Those of you that don't know, Milltown is a primitive campground in Reed Creek up in the Five Forks area. Corps leased this to the county. It was in disrepair and had been closed for quite some time. We went ahead while the opportunity was there to secure it, looking at future needs down the road. And we have not opened it up because it does need a lot of work, and that's basically where things sit today. So go ahead, Commissioner Carter.
Okay, on 5/16/20, I went up there and took a look at that, and I took these pictures that y'all see there. And I don't know if that was in disrepair when we got it or not. I don't know, because that's the first time I've been up there in years.
Yeah. The bathrooms and stuff has been vandalized.
Was that before we got it?
Right, they were vandalized when we got it. They have been vandalized several other times since we've had it, but there was some vandalism before we got it.
When I went up there on the 16th, I took pictures, and one of the pictures you're going to see, I went back up there today, and it's worse today than it was on May 16th. Now, my concern is, what are we going to do with this park? Are we going to do anything with it, or are we just going to keep letting it sit here? Because according to what I read, the Corps of Engineers says we will put that park right back in the same shape it was in whenever we got it. Now, I don't know what kind of shape it was in.
There were exceptions noted when we got it. I remember that when we talked about it, and that should have been noted in that lease.
Yeah, well, I didn't see where they was noted in it, but I got the agreement.
You may not have the inspection.
Well, I may not have that part,
Yeah.
but what I read.
But every part we've got, even Long Point, everyone, we went through that process of documenting the state it was in when we took it.
But these people that's interested in it, and I think we've had this conversation in the past because people are interested in it, and we either need to make our decision what we're going to do, or we're just going to let it sit there and continue to deteriorate, or we're going to do something with it. If there's interest in it, we need to let the people come before us and show us what their interest is.
Well, do we have anybody that's interested in it?
I've had, I think, 3 people call me, and I've told them all 3 the same thing after a long conversation with them. Send me your ideas, because I can't talk to one person and say, okay, I'm going to let you do it. We got to do an RFP, send it out, and get proposals back, and then it's ready to come before y'all. But to this date, none of them got back in touch with me. Most of them want to build a motel. They want to do this, all kind of big, wild ideas. That we are primitive. We cannot do that. It's got to stay a primitive camping thing with according to our lease. So I'm open and willing. Anybody who's got ideas, please get in touch with me.
Well, I actually rode through the park with somebody today, so I don't know if they're going to have any interest in it or not, but they might. I won't mention who they are publicly, but
Well,
I don't know that they are interested in it.
well, it may not be, but it still have to go out to public bid either way.
I just want to know if we're going to do anything, what we can do. We need to figure out.
I agree with you. I hate sitting, watching it go down worse than what it already is. But just to be totally honest with you, we do not have the staff to bring it up. I mean, we could, like I say, y'all control the dollars. We can add staff to get it back in shape and operate it.
It's got
That's a
pretty
decision.
views in it, as you can see right there. Of course, now there's a lot of tree limbs, stuff like that. There's trees down up there. There was a 10 up there when I first walked through, but it ain't up there today.
Just so you'll know where
There's
it's
some
at.
trees really that's dead right there at the playground. So those need to be took care of, because if they fall on that playground, they're gonna destroy it. There's two right there at the playground, pretty good sized trees. And while I was there today, I seen a boathouse. I don't know who put a boathouse up there, but it's pulled right up into the park there, anchored off, and there.
Yeah, we'll check on that tomorrow.
I don't know. Maybe we got a free boathouse out of deal. I don't know. But it's a shame to let it sit there and run.
I agree with you.
can't see it.
It is. I don't have a good answer what to do with it.
Well, I don't guess none of us does, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that like to go up there and camp, and I hate to see that thing sit there for years and years and years, and we have to go spend a bunch of money to get it back in shape, and we got no benefit out of it while we had it.
Okay, anything else on Milltown?
No, that's good. Thank y'all.
We'll move on to item 12G, City of Hartwell annexation of 308 Ridge Road, tax parcel I-69F077. We talked about this at the last meeting. It's part of the Georgia Code. Municipalities, when they annex properties into the cities, they must first notify the counties before they do it. Then they notify the county after the second meeting where they vote on it. This particular property was not done legally. Our county administrator has been in touch with the Georgia DCA. They agree it was not done legally. And the Board of Commissioners has made a commitment to the developer here that we would do whatever we could to help this situation, but the bottom line is we have to follow the law. We all have an oath of office to uphold the law. We knew this was an issue. We brought it to their attention. If we had not brought it to their attention, we would have been somewhat in violation of our oaths of office. So that's why we did that. Talking with the DCA today, they seem to be confident that we acknowledged the notification that we received last week in writing from the city, that we take that as our notification, and then we respond back to them that we're taking this as the notification, and they will need to have a call meeting or do it at their regular meeting to meet the DCA timeline. They will have to revote on this annexation matter. The Board of Commissioners is reaching out in good faith again to try to get this issue resolved. We don't want to cause a situation with the developer, but the bottom line is we don't object to this annexation, but we do have to follow the law. And I'm going to put that in the form of a motion that we reach out to them and have the county administrator draft a letter summarizing that. And if they don't, then we'll have to notify the DCA.
Second.
So I have a motion by Chairman Dorsey and a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman, can I
Yes,
just get a point of clarification on that?
You can?
Your motion is that you will treat the letter to the DCA dated June the 3rd from the City of Hartwell as
our notification.
notice to the county,
Yes.
and that you have examined the annexation of this particular property at 308 Ridge Road, and you have no objection to
correct.
that. You approve it.
That's correct.
And as we understand from the Department of Community Affairs, the city will notify the city. Terrell will, or I will, and then, and that should be in writing, of course. Mm-hmm. And then the city will have to vote again to annex. Then they're clear.
Right. If they don't, then we've got a problem. So I have a motion.
They have a problem.
Right, they have it, not us. I have a motion by Commissioner Dorsey and a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment on this issue? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Moving into new business, item 13A, Tilly's Tiki Bar and Grill and Boathouse Grill request to address board concerning liquor by the drink. So.
Greetings, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Dr. Jerry L. McCann. I live at 56 Brown Street here in Hartwell. I currently serve Hartwell, the Hart County Chamber of Commerce as the vice chairman. I'm also the chairman or co-chairman of the Economic Development Committee, and it's for that purpose that I'm here this evening. Recently we received 2 letters from 2 of our members. Tammy Tillinghast at the Tilly, I can never get it straight, the Tilly's Tiki Bar and Grill, and also from Jeffrey Adams, who owns the Boathouse Grill, asking us, since they're members of the Chamber of Commerce, asking if we would represent them before this particular commission, and ask that we develop, or ask you all to develop, a means by which they could be licensed to sell mixed drinks at their restaurants. Both of these institutions have been selling or have provided beer and wine for some time, very responsibly. And we, in talking with Terrell and also with Gordon, Mr. Gordon, we have discovered that in order to move forward with this, it's going to be necessary that we have a referendum to pass that, hopefully, this fall at the November election. So we have Representative Jeff is here, and I think, yes, Tammy and her partner back there, and here supporting it. And we would like you to move on this evening, if at all possible. In talking with these individuals, it seems that a referendum is going to be necessary to move this forward. We think it's a timely thing to do, and we would like to see this turned over to the voters of Hart County to decide whether or not these restaurants that are in the county and not in the city would be able to provide mixed drinks to their clientele. These letters from them very much express their situation regarding mixed drink sales as something that is economically important to them. It's also important to satisfy the request of their customers. So as the Chamber for Hart County, we are supporting their efforts in this regard, and I, on their behalf, would like to request that you all move in this regard to put this on the put this as a referendum to be voted on in November. I think Walter Gordon was going to look at this to see if we still had time to do that, but if that be the case, if you all could make a decision to put that on the ballot in November as a referendum to support these businesses, we would greatly appreciate it. Any questions?
Hey, Walter, what is the timeline on doing something like that?
I think that you would have time if you moved on it soon.
90 days.
I believe that we have to provide the election superintendent with a minimum of 30 days notice, but it's going to be, it really needs to be a lot sooner. The problem now is with the virus situation. Everything has been changed, and in order to on the general election ballot, there needs to be time to have the various documents printed, to have the sample ballots published, and to have the new voting machines programmed, hopefully correctly, and in such a way that it would reflect this question as part of the general election. This kind of a long way around to say, I don't know exactly how many days you've got, but I'll find out. I think you can do it if it's something that you want to give the voters a chance to vote.
Mr. McCann, I never heard you mention Sunday sales. As far as, would that be on a separate referendum, Mr. Gordon, or would that? So, are you asking for the Sunday sales also, or just the regular?
Sunday sale.
Come forward.
Sunday sale.
For liquor by the drink?
Let her come to the microphone.
Beer
If you-
and wine,
If you'll come forward. If you'll please come forward.
Tammy?
Yeah, that was my question. Does that need to be addressed at the same time as far as,
What I was asking is, 2 years ago, we stood here and asked for Sunday sales for beer and wine.
Right.
And it was our understanding that if that passed, that liquor by the drink would be on the ballot that next November. And 2 years later, now we're saying that we don't know if we're going to have time before this November. So I didn't know that you had to have Sunday sales liquor and beer and wine.
that was my question to Mr. Gordon. Would it have to be on a separate referendum as far as, okay,
I mean, it could be on the same election day.
right.
Well, no, what we're asking for is liquor by the drink. We're not asking for sales in retail stores, right?
No, it's all liquor by the drink. And I would ask if you all could decide this evening to put that out as a referendum for both those issues as two separate issues, liquor by the drink, sales by these restaurants or by any restaurant that meets the criteria that you would dictate to get a license. The liquor sales through the weekend and the Sunday sales as a separate entity if that has to be done. I think it would be important for both of those because if restaurants, particularly those on the lake, Sunday is a big time for them, and so I'd like to see that. If it has to be two separate referendums, the chamber would support that if that's necessary. But we would like to see it move forward, and we would volunteer our services as well if you need some help writing the narrative on the referendum. We'd be glad to do that. But we would certainly like to see this move forward as quickly as possible.
Walter, when would you be able to give us an answer? You have any idea? I mean, I know it's kind of wild with everything going on. I don't think anybody on the board has a problem with it.
Are you asking Walter or me?
Yes, Walter.
I think if you wish to go ahead and take the vote.
Bill, okay, going on to it.
I'm hesitant to promise, but I'm sure I can have it within a week.
Just everything contingent upon being able to have it in November, meeting the timelines.
I'm ready to make my decision tonight.
Good.
Is there a motion to move
I'll
forward?
make a motion that we pursue a referendum for liquor by the drink and Sunday sales by the drink.
Second that motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Sayer, second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion?
I got something I want to say. I'm going to tell you the same thing I told them whenever we was talking about the beer and wine on Sunday. It's already being sold in Hart County, liquor by the drink. And I don't know that it's being sold on Sunday, but I believe it is in the city of Hart. So it's already in Hart County already. So that's why I make my decision so easily. It's already here.
Good. Thank you, gentlemen.
We haven't voted on it yet. Anybody public comment? Public comment? Mr. Wehunt?
Let me make one other comment as well. I think everybody here who's asking for this will appreciate your vote tonight, and I don't see a problem with that. But there is a specific form of resolution that you will need to adopt. And what I would like for your motion to be is to approve that resolution when I have it drafted for you.
I'll amend my motion.
Thank you.
Second. So I have an amended motion, second. Mr. Wehunt?
My name's Steve Wehunt. I'd also like you to consider liquor by the package. If we're going to have liquor by the drink, we should also have liquor by the package. We've got tax revenue that's going over to Franklin County, Stevens County, and Anderson, South Carolina. We need this revenue. So in addition to liquor by the drink, I'd like you to consider liquor by the package. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else public comment? Now I have a motion and a second that we move forward with the two referendums, and the resolution as Mr. Gordon talked about, and the motion and second was amended. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is request for pay for experience of the road department. We've hired an individual. This is in line with our current policy. And the request was to
8 years.
grant 8 years credit for experience. Can I get a motion that we do that and make that retroactive to the higher date?
It won't be, it's the same pay period, so we won't have to back up.
It started last Monday?
Started Thursday, last Thursday.
Have a motion by Commissioner Carter. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is board appointment for the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission.
I'll make a motion, we put Bill Chafin
Bill
back.
Chafin.
Reappoint Bill Chafin.
Yeah.
He is willing to serve, right?
He is, yeah. We had to twist his arm a little bit, but he agreed fine.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. Bill Chafin. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is de-annexation request. We've got a letter from David T. List and Stephanie Bray List requesting that the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution de-annexing their property at 84 Capri Drive from the municipal boundaries of the city of Hartwell. The letter states, when we first purchased the property, we specifically bought this lot because it was not in the city limits. For the first year we owned the property, we were not issued a tax bill from the city. It wasn't until we were closing on our construction loan that somehow it was determined that the property was now considered part of the city. Our immediate investigation indicated the city was in error. The E911 identified our property as outside of the city. Our homeowner's insurance agent said our fire service was County Station 1. The tax office as well as the assessor's office did not see where the property was on the city's tax digest. The city of Hartwell admitted the property was never taxed as city property until 2016, yet the city claimed the property was annexed in 1988. We do not receive all services provided by the city to its other residents, such as sewer, street lights, and sidewalks. We seldom see city police patrolling our street. The closest fire and law protection to this property is served by the county and not the city. In consideration of the inconsistent and at times erroneous zoning practices by the city of Hartwell, failure to identify this property as within the city limits as well as within the city's failure to tax this property for almost 30 years, and lastly, the city's failure to provide services to this property and understanding both the city and county's desire to protect the rights of property owners, it's our request for the county to approve a resolution tonight de-annexing our property for the boundaries of the city of Hartwell. Respectfully, David T. List and Stephanie Bray List. And there's also the property description from the deed that accompanies this request. Mr. and Ms. List are here tonight. Do you have anything you want to add? It's up to you. It's up to you. If I've covered everything you want me to cover, okay, good. With that being said, what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion.
That we approve the resolution for de-annexation.
Yes, sir.
Have a motion by Commissioner Carter that we approve the resolution request for de-annexing the property at 84 Capri Drive. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion?
Yes, I got some questions. With all this being said right here, and it's not showing up on any map, why are they paying city tax? Can anybody answer that question?
I mean, that's a question I wouldn't know the answer to, right or wrong, so.
I mean,
We're starting to identify a lot of properties. There's some issues
yeah,
here.
it's kind of worse when we sit here and see this and wonder, why in the world is this going on? You know?
Mr. Bray, can I ask?
Mr. Carter, that's, I think you just hit on the exact reason that Georgia law requires the city to notify the county of proposed annexations. And I'm not saying that that was or wasn't done on this property. I do not know. But we know what happened on the last one. And I might also point out that if you wish to approve this request, that does not bind the city. That doesn't mean that the property is de-annexed from the city. It simply means that you have no objection, and then the city has to act on the request which the property owners have made.
They'll have the final say.
That's right.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sayer, do you have something?
Yeah, I'd just like to figure out a timeline. When we purchased the property, it was not in the city limits, and then not issued a tax bill from the city. It wasn't until our closing on our construction loan. How much time was that?
If you come forward, please.
Okay, first question.
When did you buy the property?
We purchased the property in October of 2016.
2016. Okay, when did you close on your construction loan?
Sometime in 2018, early 2018,
So
I
it was
believe.
2 years before you...
So when we went to actually, I got an email right before our official closing on the construction loan saying that we had a delinquent city bill for $99 for the previous year. And
You
that
had a
was,
delinquent city bill,
we had a delinquent city bill.
and you didn't even know you were in the city?
Had no clue.
Okay. All right. Fine, yeah, I just wanted
Yes,
that
sir.
timeline.
I got a question. It says right here, the city of Hartwell admitted the property was never taxed as city property until 2016. So when did you get your first tax bill?
When we closed on our
2018?
construction loan, yes, sir.
It was annexed in 1988.
Well, according to the city, it said it was annexed in 1988.
Yes, sir.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Carter and a second by Commissioner Sayer that we approve the resolution. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. If y'all sign that resolution, get that done tonight.
I have one laying here. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. Who carries this to the city? Do they do it? We do. How's it work? We do.
That concludes new business. We'll move into public comment. At this time, I'd like to recognize Luther Carty.
All y'all familiar with what I'm here to talk about. And Ms. Dorsey, I want to address you first on something. About 2 months ago, I put in, per y'all's ordinance, to be on the agenda in writing to Mr. Partain. Well, according to y'all's ordinances, Section 258 agenda, I have the right to be on the agenda. Well, I'm not a public comment on what I'm fixing to address. This is a concern of all Hart County citizens that live on dirt roads.
First of all, let me tell you that this whole thing is the agenda.
Okay.
All right, there's items that are brought to us by government entities and different groups.
But now, that's not what your ordinance says.
Listen
It
to me,
says-
please. You're on the agenda, so let's don't confuse that.
Well, it
We're
is-
still in a meeting, so you're on the agenda. All I knew was that you wanted to be on the agenda, and you're on the agenda, and you're being able to address the board. So
Okay.
now's your time.
Okay, now's my time, so I'm going to do this. What I'm going to talk about is lack of funding for improvement of dirt roads in Hart County. Now, I had a budget that I got from Mr. Partain, and I've had more educated people than me go through this budget. There's no words on that budget that has anything mentioned about improvement for roads, dirt roads in Hart County. Now, I'm sure y'all all know this. There's 70 dirt roads in Hart County, which equals out to 30.8 miles. I've ridden every one of those roads, every one of them. Some of them's in better shape than the one I live on. Some of them's in worse shape. I've spoken to each one of you individually about my concerns about the road I live on, because that's the one I'm concerned with most right now. Researching the county records for the last 10 years, this road has never been brought up in public meeting for anything to be done to it. 1992, this was a privately owned road by my family and Mr. R.C. Johnson. Mr. Teasley, I think your daddy was the commissioner, approached my granddaddy and Mr. Johnson about taking the road over. That's a long time ago. You're right. We signed, my family and Mr. Johnson signed the road over to the county, giving them a 40-foot right-of-way. Now there's more people on the road that live on the road and own property on the road. There are 8 landowners owns property on that road. And this was 28 years ago. When the county had a 5-member board that's been addressed, and everybody that's ever run for commissioners for this district has come around campaigning and have said, we'll see what we can do about getting something done to this road. Now, the current 12 citizens live on that road, or own property on that road, and 8 residents. And I've been given all kind of excuses on why the road won't be paved or chip sealed. I've been told it dead ends, okay? I got a list of roads that Hart County has paved that are dead end, that less residents live on. So the excuse is gone. I've been told there was no money. How about the $877,000 that was left over from last year's budget? Okay, where's that money go to? What about the delinquent taxes that are sold? My concern is, I'm not the only one that lives on the dirt road. There are other citizens that live on dirt roads. They've locked their roads down too. Now, some of the roads I've visited, the people that own them don't want you to touch them. They just want them scraped and gravelled. Because they own property on both sides, they don't want to give that 40-foot right-of-way. The county's been given that 40-foot right-of-way 20-something years ago. Now, one resident living on that road is a Vietnam veteran who has very nice vehicles. He can't even drive out that road at times because the road stays in such bad shape. And I'm going to stop right there. Call Mr. Teal, he does what he can. He gets the road scraped, gets some gravel put on it. But the first rain, it's back in bad shape again. It was scraped 2 months ago. It's potholes again. You go down, it's like a washboard. Keeps my vehicle tore up too. I have a new vehicle. I get tired of having to have the front end lined up. Tires being ruined. I'm sure that there are other residents that live on the 30.5 miles in Hart County that would like something done to their roads too. There's no need in a county this big, with a budget this big, having this many miles of dirt road, and it's not a big amount of miles, 30 miles, 30.5 miles. Carty Johnson Road is 0.3 of a mile long. I've been dealing with this since 2016 when I moved back over here. I've asked y'all, beg you, please do something with this road.
And we do. We scrape it. We maintain it.
So
it was a dirt road. Listen to me. You've been talking.
I didn't interrupt you. You let me finish.
I just want to address some of this. You're saying we're not doing anything. We do things. There's been more gravel put on this road, and I challenge anybody out there to go out there and look at it, because I went and rode it again yesterday. There's more gravel been put on this road than any other road I know of in the county.
So you're going to keep putting gravel, throwing money away? Because
we're not throwing money away, Mr. Carty. This was a dirt road. It has been a dirt road. There are other dirt roads that have been dirt roads in the county system longer than 20 years. I can name some of them for you.
All right. So you telling me if we live on a dirt road, we're going to have to stay on a dirt road the rest of our life?
Let me finish, please. Let me finish. Because you've been out here talking and saying things that's not quite right, too. So this board in its current makeup has not paved any roads for first-time paving. We paved roads back in the 2006 timeframe, wasn't it, Ricky?
2003 to 2006, somewhere around.
No, we haven't done anything in 2016. We did tar and gravel back 6, 7, 8 years ago when we had a significant surplus of money. We didn't have a jail problem then. We have a jail problem now. We have an inmate housing problem. And we're taking the money that we're saving, that we've got in surplus. We know that we've seen significant deterioration of our general fund revenues this year, and you alluded to the $800,000 when we beat budget last year. We have seen a significant drop in our revenues on Superior Court and Magistrate Court and Probate Court as far as court proceedings way down. We're fortunate to have the surplus that we have. We have to have money to continue to operate this, and paving roads is not something we do out of the general fund. We use SPLOST to do road paving. We talked about tonight.
No, let me say something.
Let me finish, please. Let me finish. You're out of order. Let me finish.
No, I'm not out of order.
Yes, you
This
are.
is my time.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Speak. You're out of order. I'm telling you. Let me finish. We sit here, and this board struggles to try to get a balanced budget to keep from raising taxes. We're all conservative, and we do the best that we can. We take our money that we talked about tonight, and we pull it together 2 years, and we take the 30% match this county has to come up with, of that $1,065,000. The county's got $300,000 plus it has to come up with to resurface those roads that are out there.
You said resurface.
Let me finish, please. That's exactly what I said. It was very clear, okay? This board, as far as delinquent tax sales, the collection rate that the tax commissioner has is in a 98-99% range. There's not a lot of taxes that's out there. And this board, for every property tax dollar that you pay and everybody else pays, this board doesn't get 100% of that. This board gets about 29%. So to sit and think that we've got a huge surplus of money, we don't have it. We also use SPLOST money to fund the improvements that we have done. We're talking about two pots of money here. We can't mix those. Those have to be accounted for separately. You've got the general fund, and you've got SPLOST, and then you've got other accounts that we have to keep separate as well. So that road is going to stay a dirt road. It's not going to be resurfaced or surface tar and gravel. We're not doing any of that. We don't have the money to do that, and I don't know how many times we have to tell you that. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you want to see the improvement, but that road was a dirt road when you lived there, when you left. It's still a dirt road today, and it's going to continue to be a dirt road because this board does not have the money or the resources to get out there and go and tar and gravel, chip seal, whatever you want to call it, that road. That's the bottom line, and that's the straight, honest truth. And if anybody else wants to address it, they're more than welcome.
Well, I understand that. You don't got any money. So where does all the money go with the budget? I mean, you got a budget that nobody can make sense out of. I got a man sitting here right now that went through that budget, and he...
It's very easy to make sense out of it. The majority of it goes to public safety. Sheriff's Department, jail, EMS, that's over probably close to $4 million.
So I guess what you're telling me, if you live on a dirt road in Hart County, you're going to continue to live on a dirt road
That's exactly right. No, I didn't say for now. I said for now you are. That's a fact. And I told you that when you and I talked. And these other commissioners have told you that too.
No, they hadn't exactly told me that. They told me they'd try to see what they could do about it.
Okay.
And,
I know Luther, whenever I got elected, I think it was 2013, that was one of the first roads that I had them scraped and put gravel on. Every time you've ever called me or any of the residents on that road, I've done what I could do to try to get it scraped and gravel put on it. And I know I talked with Terrell about it, and I know Marshall's been involved in some of it too.
Been involved in it too.
And, you know,
Came up and looked at that road yesterday. When you came and talked to me before, I went and looked at it. You followed me out. I was in a white Trailblazer. And yeah, I have been up there and looked at it too. We take these things seriously. It's unfortunate the economics does not allow us to do this. We'd love to have them all tar and gravel so we don't have to worry about scraping them and graveling. But then when you have them tar and gravel, then you got to maintain them. And it costs more to maintain a paved road when you have to start resurfacing it than it does putting it. It's not as simple as just going and putting tar and gravel down. You got to put a base down, you got to compact it, and it gets very expensive.
And I understand all that, but I also understand, and you've told me this yourself, once the road is tar and gravel, you get help from the state to maintain it.
No, we don't get help from the state
That's what
to
you told me
maintain it.
now.
We turn in roads to be resurfaced. We get money from the state. This board determines which roads we use for our LMIG, the resurfacing money. We get out as a whole board with the county administrator, and we ride the worst roads in each district, and then we as a board choose those roads. We don't get money from the state to do that. We get money for resurfacing. The Local Maintenance Improvement Grant, LMIG, is what it stands for. In each county, the city gets it, and everybody else. That money is used for road improvements. We could use it for a bridge. And we've talked about that in the past. Flat Shoals Road, we've talked about the possibility of that as an LMIG project. But we as a board do not have the money to go out here and resurface or pave, to do tar and gravel all these roads. Not only do we not have the money, we don't have the expertise and manpower now because we've had so much turnover in the road department.
And that was another thing, so we don't have the equipment, we don't have this.
We got the equipment, we've had some turnover in some of our key people. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It's nothing that anybody or anything that anybody's done. It's just a
So basically,
situation.
what you're sitting here telling me is if you live on a dirt road in Hart County, unless you go up on the taxes or some miracle comes up, we're going to live on a dirt road from now on.
I didn't say from now on, but I'm telling you, you're going to live on a dirt road tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And I'm not trying to be smart. I'm sitting here telling you the honest truth. And if there's anybody on this board that wants to dispute it, they're more than welcome to. We have no plans to do any tar and gravel or first-time paving on any roads anytime soon. And I've told you that repeatedly.
Yeah, you have, and I'm still arguing that there's money to be done if you'll do it.
There's not money there.
Funny thing is, some other people sitting around you have told me there's money there if you'll just use it.
I'd like to know where it's at.
So, if that's the way you feel, that's fine.
Somebody wants to say it, they can speak up.
Well, I'll speak for the 877,000 you was talking about. We actually don't know how our budget's going to turn out until the year's end. We don't know exactly what our expenses are going to be, and maybe some revenues come in that we weren't expecting. So it's not that we knew we was going to have that left over. And, in our budget and planning, as Terrell's administrator, we do work hard to be conservative with money in this county, especially in this time that we're in now with the COVID-19, people been out of jobs. We're going to do our best to keep our tax rates down and the millage rate down. And, I hate at Luther that we just don't have the money to just go out and pave all these roads. And there's roads ahead of yours, I think, that was already asked to be paved before yours. So it wouldn't be right just to come down there and pave yours and then let those sit. So, but that's, as far as our budget and everything, we do not know how much money we're going to have left over each year. And sometimes we may be the other side of it, under.
And we also know that we're losing Tenneco. Tenneco closes at the end of this month. That's $400,000 of property tax revenue that we lose next year between us and the school system. That'll be over $100,000 for us. Newton Mill's closing. We know we're going to lose that money next year. That's another $40,000. We have put on the ballot, it's going through the legislature now, an increase in the homestead exemption for those 65 and older, a $5,000 increase that's going to take away more revenue. So that $800,000 that we had last year, it's going to be gone. So you got to look ahead and know what's going on. And I said this when we talked about increasing the homestead exemption, that we would look like a bunch of clowns in a circus if we were able to go and do that and then turn around and have to raise a millage rate. That was before COVID-19 and everything else. That was before all that this whole thing got messed up. But that's why this county is in the shape that it's in financially, and we've been able to continue to maintain that financial consistency. We should have between 3 and 6 months of operating funds in the bank because there's a time from the end of September where our fiscal year ends and December the 20th when property taxes are due. We got to have money to operate during that time. And if you look at our general fund revenues, property taxes are our number one driver. We cover this every month in the financial dashboard. There's no secrets. It's out here on the website. And we cover it every month. I go over expenses and revenues, the gap between the budget for both. We have it color-coded. It's red, yellow, green. We look at our key revenue drivers from property taxes, LOST, EMS funds, and a tag and title fee. We cover those every month, first meeting of every month, and you can see where we're headed. But there's a lot of unknowns still out there, but there are some knowns that are out there that are going to materialize, and we got to prepare for that.
All right, I've said my piece. And Mr. Susan, I was going to ask you to bring it up, but it's obvious to me to go no worse. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I got some things I want to say if you want to stay up there. I would like to see us start working on paving dirt roads, and I'm not saying we're going to start with yours or anything like that, but we have talked about this before, and I'd like to see it, and I know we don't have a lot of money, but if we could make a small dent, a little bit at a time, it would eventually get rid of our 30-something, 38 miles, you said? 30.8. 30.8 miles. But if we don't start somewhere, we're going to never get it. It's just not going to happen. We have, last year, we approved to do an experimental pave by using a paving company, and I hope to see us do that, and I'd like to see us do that on a dirt road. I don't know where we're at on that.
We're talking about two different things, Ricky. That has nothing to do with a dirt road. That's chip seal on resurfacing
Well, chip seal is chip seal.
No,
I'd like to see it
no, it's not.
done on the dirt road. We paved many dirt roads.
You have, but you got to prep the dirt road like Joe was talking about. You get the base and everything else set where you don't have to do that on a repave.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying, I'd like to see us try it out on the dirt road.
That wasn't talked about. That was talked about on a repave on pavement.
I understand that. I know that's repave, but I would like to see us try to look at that, because how you going to know if it don't work if you're not going to experiment with it? And I think where he's coming from, and one of the things he said was the fact that once we pave a dirt road, then it's capable of being put on the LMIG. I think that's what we probably was understanding. And I don't know that it costs us more to maintain a paved road than it does a dirt road if you maintain them considerably. And I told you this last night, and I'll tell the people in here. If we would go out on a dirt road and build that thing right the first time and compact the gravel when we put it on there, just like you fixing to pave it, it'd probably hold up a whole lot longer. And it maybe wouldn't get potholed as soon as it did. But, you know, like I say, I would like to see us start looking at paving some first-time pavements, and I know everybody on this board has said that in the past.
Well, I know, like in my district, like where Luther and them's roads are, they like several roads like that, short like that, you know, I'd like to see them find money to do it.
It won't never happen if you don't start somewhere.
And the last time through, District 5 being the last one in line, didn't get its 2 miles of paving that it was supposed to have gotten, while all the other districts got theirs, because we started in District 1 and we run out of time and we run out of money. District 5 was left 2 miles short. So.
Well, I thought that's where we had some extra and somebody went to District 5.
No.
Last year? The last time we paid?
No. Call John Camey. I got an email. He
Well, I
showed
ain't
that.
talking about John. I'm talking about the last payment we had. The asphalt price went down and the paving company.
We're talking about, you're talking about resurfacing. He's talking about first-time
Are you
paving.
talking about first-time paving?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because we started in District 1, and we worked through each district. We went around the county, and we run out of money, and we run out of time. And District 5 was left shorthanded.
Well, like I say, my opinion is I think we need to start looking at doing some first-time paving, get people off the dirt.
But you got to have the money to do it, and without putting yourself in a strain. And I don't think there's money there. You got to look at what gravel's costing you. You're going to have to put a 6-inch base underneath these things. Gravel's went up significantly, Mr. Carter, or Carty, rather. I'm sorry. No, it's not.
Hey, he just give you a compliment, you know that.
About 25-30%.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
That's just recently.
Within the last,
We finna talk about the budget. Let's see what it would cost to do a chip seal. It used to be.
well, here's the deal. I'll put anything in that budget you want to do. We got X number of dollars coming in, and that's all we got unless y'all want to raise taxes.
But what I'm saying, let's look at the cost of paving a dirt road per mile.
Right.
We used to have that cost, and I'm sure it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed some, yeah.
I think it was $16,000 a mile a few years ago.
No. A lot more than that.
I thought it was 100,000.
Yeah,
Just to check.
Resurfacing is about 123,000 a mile.
Right.
I thought chip seal road.
Chip sealing would be about 50% of that, just a guess.
If it's already there and got the base and you putting down another coat, that's a different story.
Now, that's not counting the base that Joy's talking about. That's not counting the time and the package.
Counting the base.
I would like to know what it costs to do something like that.
Yeah, I pull those numbers up for y'all every year. Every year, the same subject comes up. I pull those numbers up for you every year.
Whether you ought to have them already.
No, it changes every year.
It's gone up, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, if you'd like to come, Chris.
Alan Brown, District Franklin. I just had a quick question on the road improvement plan. I think it's been several years since the county had an engineering firm kind of develop that. I don't know when it was last updated. But what is you talk about a process where you go district by district and you prioritize where the money needs to be spent on roads. What's the decision process for that? Is that open for public input, or how do you start with District 1?
This board made that decision.
Based on what criteria?
We got right the roads.
Okay.
You got to have right-of-way first. So if you don't have right-of-way, you don't have at least 40 foot of right-of-way.
Well, no, I just want to understand the process. So, like, for example, the dirt dude.
Send out the road superintendent. He goes through and gives me a list of roads at the grade of what they're in. That passed on to them, we break it up in their district, everything broken up by district. And then they go out and ride the roads in their district, and they pick the roads in their district.
So the commissioners decide how the money gets spent in their district. Okay.
This board, for resurfacing, we're talking about two different things. For resurfacing, this whole board, and we even invite the media to go with us, we get out in a van and we go ride the worst roads in the county, and then we prioritize which ones we're going to pave.
Right. So
that's how that's done.
Are dirt roads ever in that consideration?
No.
So they don't get consideration?
Resurfacing only.
Okay. And so that's the way that road superintendent works. He doesn't look at dirt roads.
Like what they said a little while ago, I don't know how many years ago.
People can't get that through their mind.
No, I understand it. But what you're saying is first time
But
paving.
you're talking about dirt roads. We don't even, that's totally off the radar. Because we're talking about resurfacing when we get out and ride the road.
I do understand that, Chairman Dorsey, but what I'm asking is, are dirt roads ever given consideration?
No.
Is that, well then, why wouldn't you answer Mr. Carty's question and say you're never going to get paid?
I did answer that. I said,
Well, you said don't say never, but I mean, he's likely never going to get paid, correct?
If the economy picks up and SPOS revenues come back, then we can do it.
Yeah,
We'd love to.
So it's a money.
It's an economics thing. I want to make that very clear.
No, I understand that. I'm just, if you had a dirt road that had 50 people on it, would it get any priority more than 12?
It's going to be up to the commissioner of that district and this board to say we're going to do it.
Okay.
So right now, the money is not there.
Okay, so in this case, it'd be up to Commissioner Teasley to decide whether they were going to do something with that road.
The board would have to approve it.
Yeah, but it would be his recommendation.
Just to throw this out, if it was his road, he wouldn't be allowed to vote on it because it's conflict of interest.
Right, I understand that, but he would make the recommendation.
He could, yeah, and the board would vote on it.
Okay, all right, thank you for the clarification.
Anybody else for public comment? Not, can I get a motion, we adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion, second, we adjourn. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously.